Let's do it.
We're going to be doing a little TIG welding today on some cold roll steel in a aerospace test welding fixture made by AZ31b. Aerospace metals like 17.7 stainless and Inconel 718 are super expensive, so it makes sense just to get some practice on plain, cheap, cold rolled steel. And while I'm welding this, I'm also going to be experimenting a little bit with high speed pulse versus no pulse. This is a CK Worldwide MT200. It goes up to 200 pulses a second. And I will set the background amps to around 40%. A little bit later in the video, I will compare a joint using no pulse at all and see if we can see the difference. To get purge gas to the back side of the joint, I'm using a dual flow meter. You could also use two separate cylinders with single flow meters, but the dual flow meter is an easy way to do it. I'm just using regular old automotive vacuum line for the purge hose. That's fine for cold rolled steel. You might need something better for titanium and exotic alloys. If you ever have to take a test like this, you want to be careful not to use too much purge flow on the fixture. That'll blow your torch gas away. I'm using a 045 ER80 SD2 filler because the thickness of the base metal is less than 040. You can see that I have just a little whisper of a gap there. The gap is totally not necessary. You're going to get penetration pretty much, but the gap helps a little bit in distortion. So I got a nice low startup. This machine has a 5 amp startup, very helpful for aerospace type work like this. Let me show you that tack again here. One more time we'll go over that. I add a little bit of extra metal on my end tacks, and I'll explain why here in a minute. First thing you want to do is puddle both corners. Don't give it much amperage until you get them to join. Kind of stab the rod in there, get them joined, then they'll conduct heat evenly, and you can add a few extra dabs, and it'll give you a little bit of fudge factor when you're welding from or welding to. It'll keep you from melting those ends away. The aerospace welding specification allows for some melting ends away, but when I used to administer this test, I didn't allow that because all of our parts had ends that we didn't want to melt away. I was probably lenient in other areas that I didn't feel were as important, but melting ends away is something I felt like was super important. So the way we administered this test was to start in the middle and weld to one end. That way we could require a stop and a taper off and a crater out taper off in the middle to demonstrate the ability to not leave a crater crack, which that's another thing I felt was super important on aircraft parts. Welding to that tack where I added a few extra little dabs, I'll show you that right now. Right there I start to taper off. You can see I did not even come close to blowing the end away because I had a little extra heat sink there, a little extra dam there of extra mass, of extra metal with that extra few dabs on that tack. Here it is in slow motion. As soon as I get right about here, I start backing off the pedal, taper off and back up the arc a little bit, and it doesn't leave a crater crack or a mark or a crater hole or anything like that, and keeps the end intact. And the objective here is, if this was an aircraft part, if it was a crack and you were welding out to the end, you'd want to be able to have metal there that you could grind off and then maintain your dimension. You don't want to blow the end away. All right, once that's welded, now we start on the other end and we weld to the previous weld and then taper off when we get there so that we don't leave a crater crack there. You see how that extra little bit of metal kept me from melting that end away there? Even though I set the amperage to about 100, this is showing the average readout here for the actual welding, and I'm not quite full pedal. This is real time. This is the speed that I'm traveling. I'm trying to keep that hot tip of that rod shielded with the argon coming out of that cup, trying to maintain a nice tight arc length. You can see the Jazzy 10 is doing a really good job of shielding a really big argon envelope there. That's always helpful on aerospace tests. Here I'm coming up on the previous weld, so I slow down a little bit, add a little bit less filler, keep traveling, taper off the amperage, and kind of teardrop it out. Now I know that not everybody watching this is facing an aerospace welding test, but this is just good fundamental principles for basically any kind of sheet metal welding. If you're tying into a previous weld, that's a good way to do it. Now the reason I required that taper off thing in the middle of the test joint is because that's the most likely place for a crack, especially on crack-sensitive alloys. Let's take a close-up look at that. And now let's take an even closer look with some magnification, and let's zoom in a little bit. That's where you're likely to have a crack right there. And it happens a lot on chromoly, on 17-7 stainless, on Inconel. But if you keep traveling as you taper off while adding less and less filler, you can avoid that crater crack. I'm going to swap over to the ceramic version of this cup right now and just show you how easy that is to do. It's got an O-ring on there for the clear cups, but all you need to do is pop the O-ring off that adapter kit and thread the ceramic cup on there. And the ceramic cup's a little bit more durable. I like to use clear cups for filming. It kind of helps everybody to see the arc a little bit better. I'm turning the pulse off now, and I'm just going to weld it with straight current. About the same amperage output though. There's slight differences. 200 pulses a second is a lot. And what it does, it stiffens the arc up, but it's almost like welding without pulse. There's some really subtle differences. In a lot of cases, I would prefer to do this type joint with no pulse at all, but you know, the machine's got it, and so I like to experiment. That's how we learn. All right, let's do that other half now, just like we did before. We're going to come up on that previous weld. Just the same old fundamentals. We're trying to keep a tight arc, move along at a consistent rate, keep the hot tip of the filler shielded by the argon. And as we move into that previous weld, quit adding filler, keep moving forward, taper off the amperage to 0, and that's what prevents a crater crack, especially on crack-sensitive alloys like chromoly, precipitation hardening, stainless, Inconel 718, etc. There's the no pulse, there's the 200 pulses a second. Definitely a little bit of difference, not like night and day. Now for this video I used 332 electrodes. 1/16 would have been better, but as long as you sharpen them like a needle, like this, you can almost do the same thing as you can with the 1/16 electrode. So I'm going to run a bead on the edge of this 038 material with the electrode sharpened, really sharp, really long taper. That's what I would do. This is really good practice for an aerospace test. To be able to run a bead along the edge of something about this thickness, that's the kind of heat control you need to practice for aerospace welding. The great thing about it is that you can just grab some cold rolled steel, sheet metal like I have here, and use an Inconel filler rod or a Hastelloy filler rod and work your way down to as thin as you can do and do edge build up like this. And that's some of the best practice you can get for practicing for an aerospace welding test.